And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I am your host, Wes Tankersley. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please do me a favor, like, share, and review it. This is episode 76, my bonus coverage episode on Artie Hoffman, and we'll talk a little bit about what Artie had to say in the previous episode. If you haven't listened to that, go ahead and check it out. It's on Apple Podcast. It's on my Facebook page. It's everywhere you can find me. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the sponsor of the show, TVPBN. If you have not checked that out, please go check out TVPBN on Facebook. They do live stream shows. They do my live stream show. If you didn't know, my show is live on Facebook as well as everywhere else that you can find it because I post it on YouTube, on Instagram, and all that. They're the ones who produce my show, with the exception of the bonus coverage episodes, which is this is coming to you from my home office. Anyway, if you're interested in doing a live show, if you're a podcaster and you want to step up to the next level and have your live show, go ahead and DM me and let me know, and I'll help you get started on that network. All right, so let's start breaking down this episode 76 with Artie. So the thing about Artie was I talk a lot about like connection and things like that and how connecting to people helps you to get more of what you're looking for, or connecting you with people or being around like-minded people. And in the podcasting place or space, there are a lot of these groups on Facebook that you are in. And so a lot of times you'll share your episodes with them and kind of get support from them and talk to them about what they're doing and how they're doing their podcasting and everything else like that. Well, with Artie, I met him through Steve Joyner, who is a person who is in one of these podcast groups. He's actually a publicist, and he helped me to get Artie. That's a connection, right? So we're making these connections. And one of the things that you have to think about is the interactions that you have with all these people and how they create, this type of thing. Artie also introduced me to Maria Daniels, who had me on her podcast as well. So I'm going to be guesting on her podcast. We've already recorded the episode. It should be coming out, and I'll let you know for sure on social media when that is popping up. But, she has a great podcast called Successfully Chaotic, which is very similar to mine. And she talks to people like me and entrepreneurs and all those types of people who are trying to create businesses and things like that. Great interview. Really enjoyed the conversation with her. You should check that out if you haven't done that. I also was on Curtis Jackson's, who's going to be a guest of the show as well, called Living the Dream with Curveball. So you kind of run into these people, and that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about, is you run into these people, you introduce yourself to these people, or they introduce themselves to you, and you kind of flow into the same type of like-minded people, which I really like. I'm able to connect with people who are having the same goals and the same dreams that I am having, the same type of environment that I'm in. And that's what's really cool about it. Artie Hoffman, who I interviewed and met through Steve, like I was talking about, is a psychic medium and intuitive life coach. And if you don't know what that is, he's someone who kind of can talk to the angels or God or those types of people, and they give him information based on what it is. And he can do this through a picture or through talking in a conversation, and he just kind of meditates on it, and then it just comes to him. One of the things that I really liked about Artie that he talked about was the fact that he, at first, when he found this gift, he had a couple things going on, and he had a window cleaning business. But then he got a card in the mail, and he was able to, he saw this card about learning how to be a medium or intuitive or whatever, and he went to a workshop. And when he got there, he realized that he was actually really good at it, and he had a gift. The thing is that Artie didn't follow that for a while. He just kind of did it for family, and he practiced, and he honed his skills by practicing multiple times. And when he finally went into it as a business, as to helping people, you kind of have to monetize stuff. You can't do things for free your whole life. He threw it up as an advertisement that he was going to do it. He said, pay me whatever you want. Pay me whatever you think it's worth. And a lot of times people are afraid to do something like that because they think that if you do something for free, you're undervaluing yourself. What he found out, though, was that 90% of the time people paid him because they got value out of the information that he was giving. And I've seen this before. I have a friend who does, he cuts hair, and I feel like looking at the price, he undervalues himself. He charges $10 for a haircut. People come in, some people pay $10, some people pay $20. He gets really big tips based on that, but he does really well. He's busy all the time. He has lots of customers, and he's just, working with what he has. So I want you to think about that. That's something that is really important, is sometimes you do stuff for free. And in this space that I live in, I have a lot of things where I have to trade services in order to get things that I want. So like I'll trade an advertisement for, like my landing page. I'll trade an ad for being on the network. So you trade things a lot of times, you trade your services. So if you're really good at something, you're offering that service to someone else in order to get something else that you need. So think about that. Everyone always says, well, I don't have the money to do this. I don't have the money to do that. You really do if you just think about it. That was one of the big things I got from Artie. It was really cool to have a conversation with him. I've never had that type of guest on the show before. The show was really good. It was a great interview. He's a really neat person to talk to. He's been on multiple podcasts. He has his own Facebook Live page. He reads people on weekends, and he was just great all around. But one of the biggest things that I took in my entrepreneurial mindset is the fact that you have to be willing to sometimes give away your service in order to get where you want. And one of the big things he talked about was that is practicing your craft. And I really think that that's a huge thing. I really think that practicing what you do, if it's something that you really want to do, you have to practice it and you have to get those opportunities. And a lot of times people won't pay you to do that. I'm not getting paid to do this right now. But if you've listened to my episodes and you start at episode 1 and you go to episode 76, I've been doing this for a year now. Every single episode gets better. You figure out, hey, I need a different microphone. Hey, I need to talk this way. Hey, I need to have better mic discipline. Hey, I need to reach out to people. There's lots of different things that you can do that you don't know, but you learn as you practice and you get better at it. So that's kind of the big takeaways from that. You need to be willing to practice on everything that you do. You need to be willing to work just a little bit harder than what everyone else is doing, because if you don't, you'll never get there. And the biggest thing in this whole situation, if you know that there's something that you want to do, take the leap and go do it. Anyway, that's all I have for today, but I wanted to say, just go ahead and reach for whatever that is. Go out there and try and find it. Be willing to do anything and be willing to push for it, because if you don't, it'll never happen. You can sit there on the sidelines. You can sit in the dugout, but you will not get in the game unless you put your foot on the field. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.